Hello, my beautiful souls. Today I want to come to you with a story, my personal story, and the reason why I feel like sharing it right now, maybe deeper than I have ever shared it before, because next week I am going to Denmark, and Denmark is a country that I first moved to in 2014. No, 2000. Yeah, 2014. So it's been 6 years since I moved there, and basically 6 years since I can say like I started like hardcore committing to my personal growth. Before that, I would say that I got in touch with working on myself when I was 20, maybe 19, yeah, somewhere like this. So that would make it now like 8 or 9 years. But it wasn't until I moved to Denmark that I fully committed and I really went all in. And yeah, since I haven't been in Denmark since 2016, I feel like I'm reaching a point where I'm like reflecting back, and I know it's gonna be even more of that coming up next week as I'm going there. And I want to share some stuff on my stories when the situation, when I'm gonna be there and when I'm gonna feel like, stuff coming up. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of you that started to follow me in the last year, and maybe you are not familiar with my story, so I wanted to share it a little bit so you have some perspective and you have some insights, and then you will understand better when I'm coming up with something maybe next week. So, where to begin? First of all, I can say that my story, I actually wrote my story again this year when I was creating my new webpage. So you can definitely go there and read through it. I think it's written there more fluently than it's gonna be explained right now. But anyway, I feel that we are currently in a period where a lot of people are waking up for their senses, and a lot of people are waking up from the way they used to see their life, or the way they used to believe their life is functioning, or however I want to express it. And I think this like whole coronavirus and like lockdown and just being forced to face your own stuff and to really connect with yourself has actually awakened in a lot of people, that they start questioning their lives, they start questioning what they're doing, why are they here, who are they, and all this stuff. And maybe my story can resonate with you if you are in this field right now. So I feel like when I was a child, I feel like I was very in tune with intuition. I was very in tune with, asking for help. I had my own rituals where I was literally like asking for help of my higher self, or whoever you want to call it. I actually name it Chelly. And I was writing to the Chelly, that's she. So she was my guide, and like I feel like I had many spiritual rituals when I was little, and I was very sensitive to the energy. Like I would come in a room and sometimes I would just like start like shouting and just screaming and going out of room and being like, I can't be here. And with things that are totally unexplainable. But I feel like I was very in touch with what's happening on the energy field, even though I had no clue that that's what it is. And I've been afraid of so many things. Like I had terrible nightmares as a child, and like I've been very afraid of some entities or some animals to catch me. Like that was my biggest fear. Like I really needed to escape. Like that was the story that I was saying to myself, that everyone is against me and everyone wants to hurt me. And that was basically the story that also came up during the nightmares. But then when I went to high school, and it's like it's kind of like you want to be popular and you want to fit in, and you want to be a part of groups there. And like I feel like I just lost like every touch with who I am. And like now, like I've been basically writing my journal, or just like having a note, like basically a calendar, or afterwards like it was like hardcore journaling. But I basically had this since I think like my last year in primary school or something like this. So probably since I was like 14 or 13. And when I'm looking back at those notes, it's crazy how often I felt sad, how often I felt like I don't belong. And it was just like I just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like my life is boring, and nothing excited me. So I really like just started to follow the script of like being a good girl and like following other people's instructions, and just being who I'm meant to be, being like just taking care of having good grades, and like being popular, and just doing the right things for others to like me. And then when I went to college, and I started studying, it was even worse, I would say, because I feel like I just became that angry person. I mean, to strangers I was mostly kind, but in general I was just like hating everyone and just being like, I don't like these people. And even though this was how I feel within, I still wanted to be liked. And that was also like I had a period of like 2-3 years where I was very into wanting to have a lot of money. We started working in network marketing companies. Like we were actually very successful, and I started earning my own money for the first time, and it just felt like so good, and I felt like so independent. And I was able to buy myself some clothes with a brand, and like a bag with a brand, and I just felt like, this is it, like I'm making it. But it's interesting because I had this dilemma within me, that it was just like, kind of like I felt like on the outside I had everything I wanted. I was popular, I was having money, I was surrounded with like-minded people. That's what I thought. But within me, I was just like literally like dying. And I didn't know what's wrong. Like I couldn't point the finger to what is wrong. And this old feeling of like, I don't belong and everyone is against me and no one allows me to be who I am and no one understands me. Like this old feeling came back up. And I made my mind that the only way how I can finally be free and happy is if I move away. And that's where I moved to Denmark, and I went there to study molecular nutrition. It was like a master program. So I was there for a year, and in that year I was like hardcore taking care of my health and my mental state, which meant that I read all the possible books about motivation, about like just positive thinking, and just how I can explore my potential to the max, or whatever it is. And I was really, really strict with my diet. I was eating only specific food. and I was training like 5 times a week, and I was like really, really tough on myself. I had zero self-love at that point, and all I wanted was just, to kind of like finally be good enough. That was my mission. And when I was living in Denmark, like it was a hard period of me of having to heal myself, because I did mention before, like after high school I started having so many health issues, and I was really into like bad, I was just eating junk food basically, because I thought that if I'm not getting fat then I'm healthy, and I don't need to really care what I'm eating. But it was like my body that was just refusing everything I put in. It was just like I had a stomach ache no matter what I ate, and like it was just like I had so much pain, my digestional system, and I was bloated all the time, and I just couldn't point out what's wrong, and I had like basically zero absorption. And that's why I also went to study nutrition, because I needed to figure out my body. And then afterwards in Denmark, of course, when I was like having so much knowledge and starting to understand my body, and before that I was studying biochemistry, so I really went deep into what's happening in the cellular level and how can I heal that. And it's just like I was really strict on everything that I put into my body, but it was like I didn't change my emotional state. I was very depressed in Denmark because I basically didn't want to hang out with people, because I didn't want to explain to them why I don't want to eat pizza and why I can't drink alcohol and all this stuff. So I was like isolating myself because I thought this is the best for me, and because this is the only way how I can really, really be strict and really be, on my own schedule and no one interrupts me. And I was also living by myself and all this stuff. So it was like pretty much a lot of times in isolation, and it didn't serve my health at all. I was so sick in Denmark. Like I was basically sick every single month. And then I remember I even had like a period where I felt like my body is just going through, I don't know, the hardest infection I ever had. And I was like sick for 10 days, having high fever for 7 days straight. And I didn't want to see the doctor. And it was just like all the shitty stuff happening. But it's interesting, like what I can get from this period when I was living in Denmark is that I really tried everything to be good enough. Like I was following every single rule of how you have to behave, what you have to put into your body, how you have to structure your day, how productive you have to be. Like I was really, really, really going all in when it comes to motivation. I was waking up at 5 a.m. I was listening to Robin Sharma at that time, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, la la la, I'm gonna do this, da 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 da. And it was just so much pushing. If I look back now, I would say I was so much in my masculine energy, and it was just about pushing, 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 and really want to get the results, which were not coming at all. And then the interesting thing happened. Like I had a feeling that I can't really be who I am in Denmark, and that people are against me again. You take yourself with you no matter where you go. And I had this like feeling that, they don't understand me because the answers are so different, and, we don't have the same language, and there is this barrier, and I can't go to other events, and blah, 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 blah. So I was asking all the professors at the university if any of them can send me somewhere for my master thesis for the second year. So eventually, after like basically my last chance was when a mentor that I already chosen, he said that he have a friend in Toronto, and that friend is actually from Croatia, so he speaks basically our language, and that he would be maybe able to take me and I'll be able to do the research that I really want. So we reached out to him, and his immediate response was, yes, of course, you can come. And that was like, it happened in a day, since, he gave me this proposal and I said, yeah, let's write to him. And then he replied immediately, yes, she can come. So it was like a bit of a shock, but I was so excited. And I remember calling home and just being like, hey, you're gonna kill me. I'm gonna live even further. And then my mom said, like, we don't really care where you are. If you're not at home, it doesn't really make a big difference. So I was like, okay, that's a green light then. And I moved to Toronto for my second year, where I basically had to do the research in the research center of St. Michael Hospital there. And I was doing a very good research. I really like it. It was on diabetic patients. I was working with normal patients, but yeah, it was a study about the fibers and whole diabetes thing and stuff like that. So, but the thing was, like, when I came there, I met some people that were also Slovenians, and they were there, and we were just like, we started hanging out, and we were both like basically in Canada for the first time, so we were just like, oh, we have to try every single thing that is happening there. And of course we had to try all the sweets and all the junk food and all the, possible things that you can eat in Canada, which we don't have in Europe. And it's interesting because I was still eating healthy when I came there. Like 80% of time I was cooking my own meals, and I was, meal prepping for going to work and all the stuff. However, I wasn't so strict about everything. Like, I still went out and eat ice cream and eat sweets and eat pizza from time to time, and I start having fun and I start being in the right environment. And it was also like, I committed myself that Canada will give me peace of mind. Like, that was my thing that I was searching for. Like, I couldn't rest. I couldn't understand what the fuck is going on with me and why am I not happy. And I really committed that Canada will give me that. So it was interesting because the path actually led me in the way that I met some people there, some Canadians that were also in the personal development industry, which I had no idea about at that point. Or actually, to be honest, I thought that everyone working in the personal development industry is about motivation, and it's about like, you can do it, you can, la la la, and everything is just about pushing. But in Canada, it was the first time that I came in touch with spirituality, with like just allowing things to happen, with choosing how you react on stuff, and not just being like not just pushing yourself, but also being conscious of the story that you're telling yourself and all these things. So basically it was a combination of basically finding these people in Canada, which we had like a once a month mastermind breakfast together. And in that breakfast, we usually stayed together for like 6 hours, and everyone shared what was happening in that month. And then it was kind of like, I just gained so much perspective from all these people that were on different paths in their life, that I was like, wow, I didn't know that this existed. Like, I had no clue that you can talk like this with people. And this is the important point here, because I still feel like a lot of people that are following me have a feeling that they are in this by themselves, or they don't have a support that they want from people, or they don't have their squad where they can talk about this stuff. And I feel for myself that because before I had this group of people, I was like basically not moving anywhere. And after I found this group of people, I feel like my life just started shifting so dramatically and so fast. And that's why a purpose behind my work is also to connect people, and I want to do more mastermind groups in the future, and also group coachings where people can connect with each other. And also I just said that I'm starting Soulful Conversations, which is going to be like an IG live that I'll be doing with people that I know I have very good conversations with, and I just want to share it with audience. So this is just a little bit in between the story to just give you some perspective that if you don't have people who you can talk with, reach out. Maybe I'll connect you with some people, because I have a bunch of people that are reaching out that they don't have anyone. So anyway, so basically afterwards in Canada, one thing that also helps me grow was that I just felt like I cannot journal everything that is happening, or I cannot fully express myself through the words anymore, and I was feeling that I want to record a video. And I didn't know why I have this feeling, but it just felt right. And I also have a thought of like, why don't I just like, instead of writing every single day, why don't I record the video every single day for 30 days just for my personal record. And to be honest, the purpose behind it was also that like in 20 years, when I'm gonna be super successful and like I'm gonna have what I want in my life, and then people gonna be like, oh, you were overnight success, you were so lucky, blah 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 blah, I'm gonna be like, you know what, look at these videos, they're from 20 years back. Look how hard I tried every single day, how hard I worked on my mindset, so that people will see that it wasn't an overnight success, and that I will show them that this is something you have to build. So that was the purpose behind it. And I didn't think that I will actually upload these videos. However, I came today, I think it was 8 or 9, when I was just crying the whole video. And in that video, I was just like, I couldn't put myself together. And afterwards, the next day, I had the biggest realization ever, which was that my feeling that everyone is against me, that no one understands me, that, I'm not good enough, and all this shit is coming from me, because I don't feel like, I'm against myself. I don't allow myself to be who I am. I don't feel like I'm good enough. And it's just like, I am setting up the rules for myself, who I have to be good enough, what I have to achieve to be successful enough, or, how I have to behave, how I have to dress to be worthy, to be successful, to be blah, 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 blah. So I created these rules for myself. And that was like the biggest realization I ever had, was that I choose these things, and I was programmed to choose them, but anyway, I agreed to them at some level. And if this is a program and this is something that I agreed to, I also have a chance to change it. And that's where my transformation started. And I was also like realizing that the biggest fear I ever have was, what will people say about me and what will they think? So I decided, if I want to really go over this fear and I really want to get rid of that, I have to publish these videos. And that's where I went and started publishing it on my Facebook. Actually, I published them on YouTube and then link it to the Facebook. It's still on YouTube. It's called The Ordinary Cookie. It just like, it has 30 videos. Just the disclaimer here, it's like, my English was really bad at that time, and I feel like I really suck at like recording those videos. But anyway, I still feel it's a good perspective to have. Maybe if you just want to go now after listening to this podcast and search these videos on YouTube, and then you will find how different it is, how different feels my energy, how different do I look, and how terrible my English was. Maybe just to see how far you can come in like 5 years or something from there. So anyway, after those videos, I actually had like I think I activated the dark night of a soul, that like part of before everything clicks. It's usually like you are in the space of confusion and you don't really know what's real or what's not real, and all you can feel is fucking pain, and it seems like it's not moving anywhere, and everything triggers you, and you just feel so overwhelmed and not okay with yourself. And I don't know, it's the hardest part that we all have to go through. And I had this in Toronto for like 2 months straight, and I didn't know what's going on, and I thought I'm going crazy, and I thought that no one's gonna understand me, and I felt so alone there. I was living by myself, and that was also a part of it. And also there was a time difference, so I couldn't really communicate with people from Slovenia after 6 p.m., which was usually when I felt the most triggered. However, I think that was actually how it has to be done, because I needed to rely on myself, and that was the first time in my life that I really relied on myself. And because I couldn't totally handle the pain, I started to pray. And I started to pray to something bigger, like I used to when I was young. I was praying a lot as a child, but afterwards I lost it. And the funniest thing was that I prayed, like I still remember the day when I was in the kitchen and I was like cooking, and I couldn't handle the pain anymore, and I just I basically lay on the floor, and I started crying hysterically, and I started praying for stuff. And I said to God or whoever's above us, I said, I need these 3 things, and if these 3 things can happen in next week, I will do whatever I feel like I have to do and not question anything anymore, because I will finally have a proof that there is something bigger looking at me, and that I'm supported, and that this feeling that I have within of doing the scary stuff, I know that I'll have to, if this is gonna be like a sign that I have to trust what I'm feeling within. And all the 3 stuff that I asked for, they showed up within the next 3 days, and they were stuff that I would believe that they cannot possibly happen at all. So everything felt like a total miracle. And when it showed up, I was just like, oh fuck, now I have to do these things that I said that I have to do. So at that point, I broke up with my boyfriend at that time. I quit working where I was working with a part of his company and stuff like that. So I just I said no to everything that felt not aligned with what I really want. And then it hit me. After I said no to everything, after I quit all the stuff that I didn't like, it hit me that happiness is a choice. And sometimes it requires from us to do the hard stuff, the shitty stuff, the scary stuff. But if something feels deep within you that it's not aligned with you and it has to go, and you don't choose to let it go, it's because you don't choose happiness. You don't choose yourself. And that was the biggest realization I ever had. I have it tattooed on my arm, and from that point on I felt like a total different person. And then the whole period of Mr. Know-it-all came where I was I just thought I know everything and I'm the smartest person on this planet, because I had this huge realization and I thought that everyone has to know this now and everyone has to have the same realization now. So I feel like this is a normal stage that happens after you have this giant awakening and you wake up to your true power, or to your to your higher truth, or whatever you want to call it. And then you just look at other people that didn't have this yet, and you're just like, duh, come on, just wake up, you know. But it took me a while to really understand that you cannot force these things, and people are on different paths, and I definitely don't know it all. I just had like a period of 6 months at that point where I felt like nothing was triggering me, and I was so aligned. And I would call this like first glimpse of enlightenment, where it's kind of like, you know, you are provided with like the most blissful and blessed state where you feel like you can't be bothered, and it lasts a certain time, and it's kind of like it's like if you read The Alchemist, it's like the beginner's luck, you know, when everything is just aligned with you and you just feel happy all the time and it's just amazing. And I feel like that's the reason why this happens, is because first of all, you have to be rewarded for doing the step, you know, because opening up for these things and, you know, kind of having the courage to do the steps that you feel are right, even though they are scary and illogical, you have to be rewarded for that. So the first reward is always like the greatest. Well, maybe this is not true. No, I'm taking this back. I think it's not the greatest. I think it's just you perceive it as the greatest at that time. And yeah, so it has to be that reward. So it's kind of like you get this proof of like, this is the right thing to do. It's always right to follow my heart. It's always right to have the courage. And then also I think it's kind of like it comes as a reference of how you want to feel and how you want to be in a flow with the universe and how you can attract whatever you want. And I feel like when you are ready to then really embody this and really go deep and come to that level again with healing the wounds and, you know, really coming there in like a grounded state, because I believe in the first, like that first glimpse of awakening or first glimpse of enlightenment is not a grounded state. It's just like you're floating out there and you're like, la 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 la, life is perfect, everything is great. And then it's time for you to really embody that and to really get your body to that state as well. And that's when you get all the possible things that start triggering you again, and you go on a real journey of cleaning up the mess, healing the wounds, healing the abandonment stuff, the rejection stuff, the pain from ancestors, the pains from your past life, the pains from your childhood and all this shit. And that's where the real work starts. However, it's interesting to see that, I mean, I think that each and every one of us has their own way how they come to these realizations. But for me, I would say that it definitely helped me to let go of my like control in my mind. Like I was really, really into control and how I have to be good enough. And I had so many rules. And I think like that was the biggest thing that I ever did in my life, to just let go of these beliefs of I have to be a good girl. I have to, do the right thing always, blah, 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 blah. To really let go of this so I can finally be free. And when it comes to my health, I actually, like, it was after Toronto, I had just like after I started having these realizations and I started feeling happier and happier, and like my inner body, I was like, I would still say that the food was really important because I was really conscious of what I'm eating and I avoid certain foods. But overall, the main difference between like when I avoid this food and I was like on a certain diet to heal, but being depressed and being isolated and being by myself, versus when I avoided the food that I know it's causing me harm, but at the same time I had fun. I was hanging out with a lot of people. I felt supported. I was in a good mind state. I was in a good emotional state. My body healed by itself. just from that, basically, kind of like, just from that healing of emotions. And the thing that really healed me in the end was when I moved to London, and I have my gorgeous roommate that was a energy healer, and she introduced me to Theta healing, and then I did the certificates for Theta healing and all the other stuff. But during this time I was also having a bunch of healings done on myself, and there's been certain parts, like certain energies that were stored in my body that were actually causing me harm, and I wasn't able to move past certain symptoms because there was so much of the negative energy within my digestional system. And after I have this removed, I healed like instantly. And I wouldn't say that it was just the energy healing, because I still prepared my body for it. However, I never totally healed before I had the energy healing done. And now I can say that I'm back to basically I can eat whatever I want. I still have like my own way of eating, which is like 80% of time I eat only the stuff that I know are good for my body. But I don't have any symptoms showing up if I eat something that, it's not totally aligned with my body anymore. So I definitely did a huge step here. So afterwards, I think the story is not so interesting afterwards anymore, because like that's still the biggest thing that happened. Like that, it's like the biggest contrast, because I was so stubborn, I was so unhappy, and I was so just like hard on myself, and like angry person, and like a terrible like depression state, versus afterwards when I opened up. Then now everything that I've done in the last like 3 years is basically just like how should I say it? I mean, it's not that it's not important, it's still very important work, but it's deeper, and it's like, I think it's a topic for another podcast. But yeah, after London, I was living in London for a year, and then afterwards I moved back to Canada, and I was living in Toronto, and then I went to Whistler, and in between I was a lot of times in LA, and I was traveling around Arizona and Sedona, and have a lot of backpacking and stuff like this. But it was awesome and great. And I would, if I conclude this episode, I would say that after what I've been through in Toronto 2016, my biggest lesson that I'm still holding on and really trying to live by all the time is always have a courage to follow your heart. I was never in my entire life disappointed for following my heart. Like, damn, a lot of times it was crazy scary, but I had the best possible miracles happening out of it. And if there's anything that I want to leave you with, is always have a courage to follow your heart, because after your greatest fears, and like, here's also, I want to point this out, I made a rule for myself: if there's something that I feel that I want to do, and if at the same time there is like a hardcore emotions of excitement and fear popping up at the same time, it means I have to do it. It's a must for me, and that's the rule that I live by. And that's all I feel like I have to say for right now. But I definitely invite you to follow my Instagram page for the updates next week when I'm gonna be in Denmark. Maybe there's anything, I don't know what's gonna pop up, but I'll show you where I used to live and stuff like this. I think it's gonna be fun. So thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe. If you think like this story will resonate with someone out there, please share it, and I'll be very grateful for your support. If you have any questions for our IG live next week, you can also send me a private message and I'll be happy to answer it on the IG live. Thank you so much and have a blast.